Hey, Connie. Do you still see the admit people? Is that button still coming up for you? Okay, I just want to double check because I see it too. And I'm like,
Yep.
Oh.
Welcome, everybody. We're going to give everyone a few more minutes to join us before we get started. Please put your name and organization into the chat box to let us know, everyone know that you are here. Welcome. Hi, Donald. Welcome, everyone. We're going to give everyone a few minutes to join us, and go ahead and put your name and organization in the chat box so that we know that you are here. We're going to start probably about 3 or 4 minutes. We have a large group today, so I'm going to wear my patient's hat. We ask everybody to mute their mics, and you can keep your photo on. We love to see your faces, and we'll all be able to talk a little bit later after the presenters are done. Welcome, everyone. We're just going to wait about 2 more minutes here before we get started. We want to give everyone an opportunity to sign on. Please put your name and organization in the chat box, and then we will get started. Thank you for joining us today. Just to let everyone know that this meeting is being recorded. If for some reason you need to jump off early or anything, we will be sending this out to everyone, as well as the presentations themselves. So welcome. Thank you for being here today. Kendall, I'm going to let you take over the admin. All right. So we have 3 speakers today for our second of our Lunch and Learns for our, it's really called Sponsor Speaker Spotlight Series. So if you want a tongue twister, that's one for you. So we're very excited for the speakers that we have today. I will introduce all of them, and then we will get into each presentation. A couple things, please try to mute yourselves. You can keep your camera on. We actually prefer it. We like to see the faces that we're presenting to. We are recording, as I said. And Kendall is going to pay attention to the chat box where you can place your questions. And we will get to the questions and answers after all 3 presenters. We just found that a little bit easier so we can kind of track the time and make sure we don't go over. So we're going to have each speaker present, and then we're going to have about 10 to 15 minutes for question and answer. So just go ahead. If you're thinking of a question and you know, it's one of the first speakers, just type it in. We'll still kind of backtrack back to those questions. So Kendall's real good at fielding those. So with that, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. I just wanted to give everyone, first of all, welcome again. I'm Connie. I'm the Executive Director for Detroit 2030 District. And we have with us today Kendall Kuhneman, who is also with our district as a program manager, who is helping to, when you want to wave, Kendall, she's helping to run our meeting today. And then we have 3 speakers lined up who are sponsors of Detroit 2030 District. So we're very happy to have them, give them an opportunity to present to us. So I have about a 5-minute, 3 to 5 minute overview of 2030 districts. Most of you have heard this, but I try to do it anyways for the new people who don't know much about 2030 districts. We are one of 23 districts across North America. And we have all together, if you were to combine all of our districts, we have about 520 million square feet of commercial space in our program. So we're definitely growing. Our first district was in Seattle. It was funded by the DOE. I'm sure you've heard this before if you're an architect, but Ed Mesria formed the 2030 Architecture Challenge to architects to build buildings better and renovate them better, with the idea of reducing energy and water consumption, as well as greenhouse gas emissions from transportation to and from buildings. So he kind of started that challenge, and then another architect said, well, let's just not take one building at a time, let's take an entire city. And that's where Seattle kind of started off this whole entire thing. And look at how we've grown. We are the only state to have 3 districts. We are very excited about this. Detroit, Grand Rapids, and Ann Arbor. We work closely with them, and we collaborate a lot and often, and companies can get involved with all 3 districts in Michigan if they like. Ooh, sorry. Currently in Detroit, if you haven't seen this, we're up to about 200 buildings in our program. We have 35 million square feet committed. So it's a lot. We're growing. Super proud that we have so many different building members and types of buildings. We have the city of Detroit, which has 130 buildings in our program. We go everything from small houses of worship and individual buildings on up to all of the big venues and museums. We have 20 houses of worship at least in our program. So we're really proud of where we're at today. We have about 40 businesses that support us, and they bring this program to our building members. We're a private-public partnership, and 3 of them are here today. We give them an opportunity to present to our members. What are we aiming to do? If you don't know, 2030 stands for the year 2030, where we're trying to reduce energy and water consumption in commercial buildings by 50% off the baseline by 2030, as well as greenhouse gas emissions from transportation in the district. Our data that we gather from our building members is all aggregated. So each building does its own, share of reductions. It's not anything that we publicize individually. We just aggregate it, and then we measure our reductions that way. So it's a it's a district-wide effort. All in all, we're just trying to create a carbon neutral city, district, city, state, country. It all kind of rolls in together. We have 3 member types: property owners and managers, and that's who this program is for, and it's free for them. And we offer them networking and opportunities to share best practices and education and assistance with benchmarking their buildings. We also have professional stakeholders, which is what these 3 companies are today, and our nonprofits. This is some of the companies that support us. We're really proud to have many of them for over 3 years now. We're getting ready to celebrate our 4th year coming up in July. So thank you to all of our partners. Why a district in Detroit? I know that most of you already know why. It's not anything that is brain science here, but we had a large stock of large buildings that were inefficient. We really needed to get this district launched. We launched it 3.5 years ago, and we're proud to do it at that time, and proud that we've grown as big as we have. And we also launched at the same time the Office of Sustainability in Detroit was formed, and their agenda, which really is working towards a lot of different goals, but one of them being a reduction of greenhouse gas emissions in their buildings and in the city. So how do we help our members? We provide free workshops, education, assistance with benchmarking their buildings. This slide actually came from a panel yesterday, but we're working with DTE on a pilot right now to help our building members ease up the problem of entering all of their data into Energy Star Portfolio Manager. So we ran workshops for 3 years on how to put your data into Energy Star Portfolio Manager so you could start measuring, but it's cumbersome, and there's a lot of errors when you do it, and it's hard to keep it up. So Kendall's been working really hard with DTE right now to get this pilot off the ground. And here it is. Sorry, I'll skip a slide here. We have 36 buildings in this pilot right now in the city of Ann Arbor. For Ann Arbor, 2030 has a bunch of buildings in it too. So we're excited to have that. So that's the types of things that we're working on for our building members. And we're also just launched the dashboard for all of our building members. So if you have a building in our program, we have a free dashboard for you to help you to benchmark your buildings against what other buildings are doing in the city, as well as list incentives and help you determine what project would give you the most ROI on energy efficiency. So real fast, I'm almost done. We have 3 best practice groups, venues and museums, houses of worship, and we just started back up multifamily. And if you're a building member, don't forget we do have a Detroit Energy Challenge. We were supposed to give awards out this spring, but obviously we didn't due to COVID. So we are now moving that out to giving awards out next spring. If you're a part of the Michigan Battle of the Buildings contest, you will automatically be able to win a Detroit award. Just a reminder, we have 3 districts in Michigan, and this is how you can get involved. You can add a building into the program. You can join as a stakeholder. You can volunteer. You can sponsor an event. We also have district stakeholders, statewide memberships, so you could join to all 3 districts. And then we also have national partnerships now where companies can join the 2030 network and be involved with all 23 districts. That is it for me. So thank you for listening. And I'm going to turn this over now. Sorry, I'm trying to stop sharing here. There we go. I'm going to get into our first speaker, and that's Kim Dark, and she is a senior manager of strategic accounts at Sloan, and we know the good work that they're doing there, and are anxious to hear what's happening. Kim, you want to go ahead and share your screen and get started? I'm going to mute myself. I can't hear you yet, though, Kim.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Detroit 2030, for having me on here. So as Connie mentioned, I am the Senior Manager for Strategic Accounts for Sloan. And then on this too, in the audience is Kim Jennings. She is our local representation, and she's just over in Oak Park with Diversified Spec Sales. And her information will be on here at the end for you guys. So what I want to do is just give a very high level intro of Sloan, if you're not familiar with them, and how we got started. We got started because the owner saw a way to save water. So you had your tank and chain, went back in the way back, and that was 13.5 gallons of water. And he knew that there was a better way to flush a toilet than using that much water. And that is how the flush valve came to be. And then since then, sensor faucets, dual flushometers, reclaimed water. Now you look at just about everything we do, we're trying to make product that reduces water usage 20% below that baseline that the EPA has. But we also do things making sure that we're keeping hygiene in mind as well. So we want to save water, but we always want to make sure that we are very hygienic when we are doing this. So what do we look for, right? How are you going to reduce water and wasting water? One of the biggest things to look at is detecting leaks. Believe it or not, according to the EPA, the estimated average household leaks can account for 10,000 gallons of water wasted per year. Here in Chicago, there was a study done, and it showed that we were losing 22 billion gallons of water through leaky pipes. So even though it may not seem like a whole bunch, if you just see a little thing with everybody added together, right, that is quite a big loss of water. So what you want to do when you're looking at this, especially when we're coming back after buildings being shut down for so long, is run water through plumbing fixtures, turn the faucet on, flush the toilet, look at the handles in the toilet tanks, kind of look to see if there's any water around there. You also want to look at your connections to the water supply and your drain pipes, and then look for any stains, because maybe something was leaking before and it's not just the second, but you'll see that where it was before. A lot of these, when things are leaking, especially you see it in the handle, or if you've got a flushometer and it's running on and on, that is a simple fix. It's just a part to fix. So it wouldn't be too expensive to get that done. You don't always have to replace the entire fixture, right? Small part, small amount of money to save water. Now, when we are talking about new builds, or if you're doing retrofits or renovations to your facilities, things that you want to keep in mind. So we're looking at using high efficiency product. So when it comes to flushometers, that means that we are coming down from that 1.6 gallon per flush. So that's our baseline. and we want to use something that is a 1.28 or a 1.1 or a 1.0. There are also dual flushometers out there. These are great for existing buildings when you don't know everything that's behind the wall, right? So you don't know your infrastructure back there. So it gives a heavier flush with a 1.6, and then it gives a lighter flush with a 1.1. That's going to average a 1.28 gallon per flush for you. So you still get that slug of water that would help evacuate things out of the building with that 1.6. And then when we're looking at faucets, and again, retrofits or remodels or new builds, your baseline is your 1.0 gallon per minute. And then we want to reduce those to a 0.5 or go even further to a 0.35. And with both of these, you've got a lot of platforms to choose from. You have your manual that's out there. You've got sensor. You also have photovoltaic turbine and your retrofits. Photovoltaic, we're taking the ambient light from the restroom. We're regenerating the capacitor. That's going to save you batteries. So saving batteries, keeping them out of the landfill. So a lot of things to help save energy as well. Turbine, same concept as the photovoltaic, only it works with water. So I don't love that one as much because you actually have to be using the water to regenerate the capacitor, but that's fine. So I mentioned retrofits. Now this is how easy it is, where you could go ahead and see some instant savings in your facilities. Two options, you've got a top mount and a side mount. So you're taking an existing manual flush valve in these instances. And for the top mount, right, all you do is you unscrew the handle, you unscrew the top, you put a new, we call it a diaphragm kit, but you put this new head on it, and you can see it here in that upper picture. And what that does is, one, you can put in a 1.28 if you had a 1.6 beforehand, and you're also converting it to sensor. So that means less touch points in the restroom, which we like. And you can do these 4 AA batteries is all that it takes. And they have lights and everything that'll alert you if the battery is going down, so that you can change it before a user experiences it. And these also have what's called a manual override. So in the event the batteries did go out, you can actually, there's a button that you can still push. And then you have the side mount. So the side mount's the most popular because it's the easiest to put in. It's 1 to 5 minutes to convert this. And you unscrew the handle, and then you put this new attachment on. You can also, there are some that you leave the handle on and you put the attachment over it. So, I mean, just really great ways to see some instant savings in your buildings. And then retrofitting on faucets. So believe it or not, you can, if you have something that's already punched for these, like a 3-hole punch, and you've got your either 4-inch or 8-inch center set, you can take a faucet, put that in the center hole, and then there's trim plates that go to cover where the handles used to be. So again, less touch points because you're moving to a sensor faucet, and you are able to kind of upgrade your space with a newer faucet and use anything from a 0.5 to a 0.35. Other options that I'm not showing here is you can, of course, go in and just change the aerator on that, so your flow control, so that you're getting something less than your 1.0. With the buildings that you see, like a lot of the old buildings in the Detroit area, a lot of them that you see here in Chicago, you're looking at fixtures that were in there that would do 3.5. I mean, 3.5 was the average gallon per flush in the 1980s. So there's still a lot of buildings that have those fixtures that are in there. So when you are looking to upgrade, look at the bowl and make sure that that bowl has a 1.6 GPF somewhere stamped on it. That's how you know that it can handle the lower flow flush valves. So remember, it's the flush valve that regulates the water. If you used a 1.28 flush valve in a bowl that was made for a 3.5 gallon per flush, it still will not evacuate the bowl properly. So you want to switch both of those at the same times. But if the bowl that is there says 1.6, you are good to go with the flush valves that have that lower water usage. Now, to put it into perspective, so this was a case study that was done just to show you baseline calculations. And this is just moving from your baseline, right? For the water closets, a 1.6, conventional metering off faucets, a 1.0, and then a men's urinal, that same. You can see the usages on the left-hand side. So for that baseline calculation, you are averaging a little over 643,000 gallons of water a year in your facility. Now, with the design calculation, with just coming down from those baselines I've been talking about, you can just move 1.6 to a 1.28. You're not even going down as far as you can go at this point, but that same amount of usage, right? Nothing else changes. You can bring that down to 388,000 gallons of water per year. So you're looking at over 255,000 gallons of water being saved. And many of these, they can be done with retrofits. So a nice, inexpensive way to get that done. Another thing that we have out that is, to me, this is pretty cool. There are flush valves and faucets that have Bluetooth capabilities now. And so it's an app on your phone, but it gives you all this information, all this data that you can use to see if you're really saving water in your building, right? So it shows you your water usage. It shows you battery power again, right? If you've got a bank of battery powered faucets, but only one of them is done, like people go and they'll replace all the batteries. Well, this way you don't have to replace them if they're not actually, they could still be good for a while. But these are a couple screenshots of what it shows you. So you can look at it, a line flush. Maybe you're like, hey, you know what? This bathroom doesn't get used a whole lot. So every 24 hours, we're going to have 60 seconds of water flush through here. We're going to clean that drain line out. You can also look at, again, your battery power. You can look at the flow rate of what's going on. And you can also, if you're in the restroom, you're like, gosh, I don't know, something's going on with this faucet, it's not working right. You can send diagnostics that go to the tech services in Sloan so they can help kind of figure out what's going on. And usually with those guys, they'll call you if you have a smartphone, and they'll have FaceTime you so that they can like watch what's going on to help you work through it. But just a great option to really control your water, see what's going on there, and get readouts of what you are truly using. So you know if there's an anomaly and all of a sudden this one faucet is using, or flush valve is using way more than anything else, you can look to make sure that there is not a leak that's probably causing that. And then Sustainability Loves Company, right? So these are just some of the people that we partner with. We believe that sustainability, hygiene, doing everything we can for the earth, it's very important. It's important to our owners still. And we believe that these organizations, they have that same foresight to go ahead and do everything that we can to save the planet's most valuable resource, right? All the water we have, that's it. We're not getting any more. And then the carbon neutrality. So a lot of people don't realize that we do have a carbon neutral program. This is all of our products, the faucets and the faucets, flushometers, our China, vitreous China products. We found out how much carbon we were emitting when we create these products. And so we partnered with the Arbor Day Foundation. There is no upcharge to the user on this. It's the same products as we've always had. But what it does is you basically put a T behind the products that are part of the program. And we plant a tree for every product that it's behind. So, and it's third party certified as well. So that way, if anybody needs that documentation, they have it as well. But it's just a great way just to do a little bit extra for product that you're already purchasing. So it's kind of a no-brainer, I think. And with that is my short and sweet overview of Sloan and what we have. And again, this I believe will be sent out to you guys. And this is Kim Jennings is your local rep. And then I am with Sloan, well, just about nationwide. So, but happy, you can always call me and ask any questions that you have as well.
Great. Thank you, Kim.
You are welcome.
I also want to mention too that we are going to have with our building members an internal water reduction competition next year, similar to the energy reduction competition like Michigan Battle of the Building. So we're expecting and Sloan to partner with us on that. Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Remember to put your questions in the chat box if you like, and we will get to them after we're done with all three speakers. And next, Rob Schmidt is going to present, and he is with Toggled. He is the marketing director for Toggled, which also is a part of Altair, which I'm sure he'll explain. So take it away, Rob.
Absolutely. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to talk about Toggled. I've said it, to you before, we're not exactly a household name, Hopefully that'll change soon, but I think it's a good idea to kind of introduce us to you. So yeah, as you mentioned, we're part of Altair Engineering. We're right over there at 16 Mile in Ryan. So not far from Detroit. I think we're like 10, 15 minutes away. I do it all the time. You know, we little big background on Altair of how this all started was there was a bus transportation project in Detroit, actually in the early 2000s, that led to the discovery that vibrations for lights is a big problem. It made the lights go out real quickly. So that's actually why Altair developed direct wire LED technology. So that's really how Toggled was born in the early 2000s. So you know why Toggled? It's a toggled switch. Controls on and off. We also like that there's LED at the back end of that. So there's a little history on the name. A little bit about Altair, founded in 1985. 86 offices throughout 25 countries. We're publicly traded at this point for a couple of years now. So definitely a big organization. Gets behind Toggled. We're a small brand within their portfolio, but we pack a pretty big punch with the help of Altair. Being that we're in engineering pedigree, we have to have licenses and patents, right? So part of that bus transit project that we talked about, we developed 170 patents that the company owns. Lots of patents. We update them every year. It's real fun from a marketing standpoint. But that's primarily in LED replacements. But we've also gone into optics, communication and control, advanced physics, and power conversion circuitry. So we're kind of all over the board. We're looking 5-10 years down the road at all points. Commercial lighting landscape. You know, when you look at this in totality, we talked about saving energy and whatnot earlier. 80%, and you can pull up different reports. There are a couple different. It ranges between 70 to 80% of all the commercial lights out there are fluorescent fixtures. That's a lot. You know, I was shocked when I first got on board with Toggle that the landscape is like that. It's an outdated technology. You know, it was invented in 1901. I'm a history buff, so I had to go into this a little bit. First commercial produced lamp was 1934. And again, we're still a high percentage of the buildings have this technology in it. 90% of that energy is emitted as heat. So when actually customs classifies lights, fluorescent lights, they're considered a heat element. So that tells you a lot, very inefficient. Thank goodness for LED. I'm going to mention here that, you know, a ballast is required with fluorescent lights. Those only last 10 to 12 years. So it's something that's a cost when you have fluorescent lights. It's just defeating the purpose. You want to get rid of those ballasts. They're going to go at some point. Flickering, buzzing, slow start, all of those are triggers that your ballasts are bad. I don't have a lighting background before Toggled, so I just figured out buzzing, flickering, you know, it's the light. Well, it's probably, you know, it's bigger than the light. You switch that ballast out, great, you're good for a while, but you know, it's not all the equation. So bottom line is, you know, there's a lot of inefficient fluorescent lights still out there that we want to help to start converting over for everybody and working with you guys. You know, how do you know if you have fluorescent lights? You know, more than likely you have them if you're in a building facility. But if you're unsure, I show a picture here of a tube. You know, it's the old school round tube, 1.5-inch tube. And as I mentioned before, there's a lot of flickering going on. LEDs don't flicker. They'll fade away over years. So if you've got flickering, you've got fluorescent lights. There's that delay I mentioned, another clue, you'll see that. If you have a delay, you know, LED lights are pretty instantaneous. That's a benefit of a LED. You've had that, you have a ballast, it's probably going bad on you. And that buzzing noise, I've been places where you walk in and you can hear it, you know, it's very annoying. I go to restaurants now, I hone in on that stuff. It's a real easy fix. You know, and why upgrade to LED, which is our portfolio? Right off the get-go, up to 70% energy savings. You know, this is technology that's way more modern, way more efficient. The lifespan, you're looking at 50,000 hours on average right now for LED. That's years, that's decades into the future, versus average for fluorescence about 10,000 hours. It's a better quality of light. I show a picture here. This is our warehouse. I love this picture. You'd think I doctored this thing up with Photoshop or something, but I really didn't, I swear. But we converted one room of our warehouse, and you can see it on the right, where it's very bright, crisp, clean. And on the left, very yellow. And again, when I walked into that we've upgraded this room since, but you'd walk in there and you could hear that buzzing. You know, it was very annoying for the guys working. Costs have gone down a ton over the years. When Toggled first started out, you know, I was told that we were over $100 per tube, a 4-foot tube. Right now, you're under $8, usually much less than that even. So the time's right for this conversion, quite honestly. We see return on investment within 2 years, typically. I've seen them within a year. I've seen them within months. So really, you know, that was the deterrent, I'd say 4 years ago, the high cost going into it. It's really not the case anymore. And what makes it even better are their energy rebates. You know, there are energy providers out there throughout the country. In our area, we're lucky enough to have DTE. You know, they provide incentives to convert. So you've got lower cost up front, you've got this defrayed rebate program, really makes it lucrative for everybody to do this. I've got some sales guys out there that are happy to help work through, you know, we're trade allies with DTE. We've done the paperwork, we know how it works. We're happy to help that facilitate that moving forward. So definitely lucrative. We are exclusive to direct wire. I mentioned that before. And what that is because we developed the technology. It's you get rid of that ballast. I mentioned, you know, the ballast costs $20 to $35, you know, right off the get. And that's not even including when you have somebody install it or the professional help to do that. They actually take energy, 4 watts of energy on average, that ballast, just being in your fixture. Highly inefficient. So no more reasons to switch over to LED. You know, the rewire, there is a process to direct wire. We're good at it. I've done it myself. It's about a 6-minute project, honestly. We offer, our sales guys can come out and train people to do this. A lot of times the maintenance teams already know. It's not rocket science, honestly. We've got videos that show you how on our website. And again, we're happy to walk through anybody that's interested in that process. And I'm not going to go into why direct wire versus ballast compatible here, but I'm happy to talk to anybody in the future if they think ballast compatible is better for them, just to at least have the conversation. Because I think a lot of people just go right to ballast compatible when there is, in my opinion, a better solution out there. But, you know, definitely worth discussion. Why we're different, Toggled, you know, we are a Michigan-based, Troy-based company. Our customer service team, I sit right next to them. Well, I did. We're coming back hopefully in a month or so. They've got a direct line into our electrical engineers. You know, 90% of our team, they're engineers. We're an engineering company. They develop the technology. They're there helping our customer service team talk through any kind of issues people have. Day, night, they're there, they're available, and they really care about making sure people understand the product and how it works. We are engineered and designed in the USA. We've got a patented triangular shaped tube, so we are different. I mentioned we're engineers, so we had to make it slightly different, put our stamp on it. But that triangular shape actually makes a more uniform light, and it's much more pleasant to the eye. So happy to talk to anybody about that in the future. Our sales channels right now, I just really want to, I'm not going to go through everything here, but Home Depot, if you hit Home Depot, we're there on shelf. We're national distribution. Check us out. Product line includes, we're even in the grow industry. So we've got grow tubes, we've got smart tubes, we've got high output tubes, you name it. We can fulfill any kind of commercial business need, as well as fixtures. That's it for my section here. Connie, I know we've talked briefly on this. I just want to point this out. It's something that hit me, you know, a couple of weeks ago, where we definitely want to get more involved in the city. So, you know, working with you, working with teams, going out and doing audits, it really raised a flag for me personally that there's a need out there, and we can help. You know, I want to get people to convert to LED. I really do. It's going to save money. So we want to work on a program where we're going to give back. You know, we'll pick somebody ideally quarterly, and again, details are still being worked out. But we'll work hand in hand to try to, you know, upgrade this facility, this room, whatever it might be, for some groups in need. So I'm looking forward to that, and Connie working with you to make sure that gets implemented, hopefully by Q3. So more to follow.
Great. Thanks, Rob. Yeah, Rob presented to our house of worship about a month back, and then it kind of led to the conversation about giving some of our members the opportunity to get a free audit. So we will organize that and let people know when the application's ready for that. Thanks, Rob. Okay,
Thank you.
our next presenter is Gwen Petit from Train, and she's sharing her screen, so I'm going to let her take it away. She is a comprehensive energy solutions manager. It's a long one. Give her a second here. And don't forget to put your questions in the chat box so we can ask them when we're all set here.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, thank you for being here today. My name is Gwen Petit. I am the comprehensive
I pronounced your name wrong. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Petit, Petite, whatever you want to call it. It's fine.
Hey, Gwen, I just wanted to interrupt that. I can't see present mode right now.
There you go. Got it.
There we go. There we go. Oh, we gotta.
That looks good.
Okay. Okay, I am the Comprehensive Energy Solutions Account Manager for Michigan. Many of you may know that Train makes top of the line heating and cooling equipment, but you probably didn't know we do sustainability projects that upgrade buildings with energy conservation measures, similar to what both Rob and Kim spoke to. As well as building an envelope and building controls and other sustainability upgrades. As you've heard today, there are many ways to reduce utility and operational spending. We combine it all and build a project that has long-term goals as well as improve your overall building atmosphere. Today, I will be introducing WellSphere. It's Train's holistic approach to healthy and energy efficient buildings. The 2020 pandemic, it revealed how buildings are vulnerable to unseen health threats. As most of you have probably heard the term IAQ, we are introducing the term IEQ, indoor environment quality. Moving forward, addressing occupants' health and wellness will be a vital part of any building's value proposition. And that's what WellSphere is bringing, that's what we're doing with WellSphere. We're bringing Train's vast expertise, resources together to holistically address the overall environmental quality in buildings. So I'm going to show you a quick video here.
Can you turn it up at all, Gwen?
Let me see.
Yeah, I can see it. I just can't hear it clearly. Kendall, can you hear it?
No, I can't hear it, but maybe we can share the link with everybody.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see. I don't.
We heard
tested
it
this
earlier.
out.
Yes, we did, of course, right?
It never worked.
We'll
Yeah,
test this. Let me just quickly. I mean, I don't want to waste much time, but
yeah, there's your speaker. Yeah,
yeah, it wasn't. It was pretty up. Okay.
let's try one more time.
Sorry. Let's see if it doesn't. I'll just move on.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna go through this again.
Check the speaker right on the actual
In
Video.
Teams, you got to share the video as well as the speaker.
Yeah.
Oh, she tested it earlier. It worked. Is that Ken? Who was that talking? Yeah, can't hear it. Very strange. Sorry about that, Kim. I mean, Gwen.
You need to turn the, check the volume on the, at the bottom of the picture there.
Of the, yeah, the picture itself. Do you see that?
Right.
I don't even see that.
Don't see a setting down there at the bottom.
Okay, there.
There we go. Try that. On the far left, like I can see it right when you're starting it. I can see the volume button.
Yeah, it's up all the way.
Okay. Well, we apologize. We will send it out to everybody.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to just move on from that slide so we don't waste time. It is a
Okay.
great, it is a nice little video.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And we tested it ahead of time,
Hey.
so I'm not sure what the
While
heck
you're-
happened.
While you're talking, maybe I'll go on. Well, is it on your website? I was going to say, or maybe one of us could pull it up for you.
It's on YouTube. It's at the link.
Okay.
So, okay, well, that didn't work. Love technology. I've had, it's okay. That's what's happening today. So I'm going to talk some about our approach and taking a holistic view to the entire building. So harmonizing well and efficiency requires individualized solutions. There's no one single technology solution. The solutions we offer, you will be tailored to your building, your operations, and your occupants. Every space is unique, but every building has similar interconnected systems, including HVAC and lighting. The interactions between those systems result in the indoor atmosphere that influences what people experience and how they feel when they're inside your building. Ensuring that these systems work together in the right ways to deliver desired outcomes at desired times. That's what we mean by our holistic approach. It's an ongoing process that begins with an assessment of the current state of your building, which leads to actionable solutions and continues as you manage those conditions day to day and reach the next level of IEQ optimization. Next, okay. WellSphere is it's an interdisciplinary collective focused on optimizing the conditions that can affect occupants' wellness while balancing energy efficiency and other business realities. WellSphere, it combines both mind and matter by providing the specialized, experienced experts and state-of-the-art technology to holistically address 4 key elements of IEQ. So we're going to recognize there is 4 key elements, and I want to make that, we're not going to be able to see the next video, but maybe it'll play louder. Those 4 key elements are indoor air quality, lighting, which we heard a lot about today, acoustics, and thermal comfort. For this presentation, we're just going to address the indoor air quality. And I'm going to give you a brief overview of what that means. Indoor air quality, IEQ, refers to the air quality within the buildings, especially as it relates to comfort and well-being of the people inside. To be more specific, indoor air contaminants come in 3 different forms: gas, such as carbon dioxide; particulate matter, think like dust or smoke; and microbiologicals, germs such as cold and influenza. Today, there is obviously heightened awareness of IAQ, with everyone thinking about the quality of the air we're breathing inside commercial buildings. And while the pandemic may be a temporary situation, the need for better IAQ will be a lasting effect, as well as people are reconsidering the impacts that it's had in the last year. The short and long-term effects of IAQ have been well documented. Numerous organizations publish standards and guidelines for indoor air quality. So I know we have a different array of building owners on this call, including is ASHRAE and the Center for Disease Control. Other organizations are devoted to the conditions that are appropriate for specific types of buildings, such as schools and healthcare facilities. And their guidelines are based on studies that have shown how much indoor air quality matters to human thinking, productivity, as well as their health and well-being. Aligned with ASHRAE's guidelines, there are 4 pillars that we talked about originally: diluting the building of indoor contaminants by bringing in fresh outdoor air, removing exhaust air efficiently, especially from kitchens and restrooms, containing, meaning keeping indoor humidity levels within target ranges, and cleaning the air to reduce particles and outdoor and microorganisms. I'll give this one a whirl and see if this works, but I don't have faith. Tell me if you can't hear it right away, I'll just skip it.
I can't hear anything.
You can't?
No.
All right, we'll just go to the next one. They're great videos if you'd like to see it after. This just makes it faster. There are many ways to improve indoor air quality, and it starts with taking the holistic look at the air inside your building through a formal IAQ assessment, and we do that here within Train. During this in-depth assessment, Train experienced building experts take numerous measurements and observations, some remotely through your building automation system, and some inside the building. When completed, when we're done, we'll review the results and make strategic recommendations, each one focusing on the key drivers of indoor air quality, building, ventilation, humidity control, and filtration. Our broad equipment portfolio and controls methodologies provide many ways to improve indoor air quality while balancing other strategic goals. So here are a few of the solutions we are using within the vast buildings we service. So I'm not going to go through them because of time, but based on our expertise around the state and around the country, these are things that we typically see as solutions. And some of those we put together. So for instance, if bipolar ionization, that is existing technology that was around before COVID, many familiar with it. There's pros and cons to each one of these that you'll be able to read within. And if you'd like more information of those pros and cons, you can reach out. We also have this temp spec system, which is a UV light with a high HEPA filtration in it. Can be used in warehouses, office buildings, many different places. We have IAQ Train filter upgrades. So these are MERV 13 HEPA filters. The positive about these, they don't create pressure drop in your system and can be used in most equipment, even older equipment. So Nexus, if you've heard anything, this is the newest technology out there, and it's dry hydrogen peroxide that can be used within an occupied space. It's an air and surface cleaner. It's keeping the president safe right now, as well as St. Jude's and the Pentagon and school districts and buildings all over the country. And then of course you got the link to your building automation controls. We have a standalone solution here that that hooks right into your control system and measures indoor air quality. And then we also have another solution here on the right that is just a simple link to your phone. And there's pros and cons to each one of these, and we don't recommend, just one. We look through the building and make those suggestions. I'm not going to go through this, but this is a quick, this Train does their own third-party research before bringing anybody on as a trade ally or partner. And so these are some of the research that we've done we have a good, better, best solution. And this last thing here is just a different funding options. And I'm not going to go through that right now, but we do have multiple ways to improve your building using energy upgrades and return on investment projects. We are committed to bring Train's resources together to help you create a building where people want to be, where they know their health and well-being are a priority. From now on, occupants will expect more from buildings. Rising to those expectations now will make your building and your business financially stronger. And I am done. I am sad that we couldn't listen or you couldn't hear those videos because they are very good.
Well, thank you, Gwen. Kendall did put the videos in the chat box. If we don't have any questions, I think we may have a couple. Kendall, do we have any questions? Because if not, we could watch the video.
I didn't see any questions come through in the chat. I don't know if anybody had any questions right now that they wanted to ask any of the three presenters.
I had a quick one for Kim on one of your faucets. You had some digital readouts.
Yes.
Green digital. I thought that looked interesting.
Yeah, so those are the basis faucet has different crowns that you can put on. So the Tigers actually at Comerica Park, they have a crown that has the D engraved in it, but then you can also, they have an LCD readout. So it will actually do the countdown for you. So people wash their hands for the proper amount of time. So you can set that and it'll say water, and then it'll disperse water, and then it'll say soap, and that's when you're supposed to be sudsing your hands. And if you go too soon to rinse, it'll say fail. It'll make you start all over again. So yeah, schools can use it, and
schools, yeah.
But NICU units, like think in hospitals and that, where a nurse would usually stand over you to make sure that you're washing your hands for the proper amount of time. This kind of takes that out so they can be doing more important things than watching someone wash their hands. But yeah, so it has that, and then that same look is that's that photovoltaic too. It's that same.
Oh, okay.
You won't see the LCD readout on it. And it's being upgraded right now, so it'll look really swanky in a few months.
Nice. Anybody else have any questions? You can feel free to turn your mic on and raise your hand, or Gerald looks like he's trying to do something there.
Yeah, I was going to type something, but okay, since we could turn our mic on. Bethany is a very old building. The newest portion was built in '56. We have an HVAC system only in our preschool area that is renting from us on our old preschool, and they had improved their air quality, so we had to install something, but that's just in about a set of 3 rooms. We have boilers. Aside from redoing our whole heating and cooling system, which we don't have any cooling, are there any alternatives for us that we can do that be somewhat cost effective?
So
besides opening the windows.
so Bethany, I'm not familiar with it. So Bethany,
we're church.
You're the church. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, I didn't include that. Yes.
Yes. So
it was in the text that I didn't send.
Yeah, no, definitely we can take a look and see what options we have, based on the space and the openness and, how are the rooms cut off and things like that. So many of the different solutions we have, are you looking for something that in your air quality for the student areas or specifically?
Well, we have a rather large building. It's about 50,000 square feet, I think, if you look over everything with the church and all that. So the sanctuary is not used that often. But, and the rest of the building, you know, it seems to me the only thing we can really do is to put in a brand new HVAC system with the money we don't have. And is it worth it for the building? So I was
Well,
wondering if there's any cheap alternatives.
Yeah, there is. There's some alternatives. The Nexus machine, that if you've heard anything about dry hydrogen peroxide, that's the one. We partnered with them with Train back in June. So it's a new technology. It's been proven out. It is a air and surface cleaner. So the difference between that and filtration, your basic filtration, is that if you are within the same space of somebody, that dry hydrogen peroxide builds up in the space instead of bringing in the air and throwing it out clean. What dry hydrogen peroxide does is it goes out into the air. So if someone were to sneeze, it has COVID, and they sneeze in the space, and the person next to them, what happens is it dies in the air, it kills it in the air. So it's not transferred. So for instance, the plant is actually a mask-free zone. They do tours there in Kansas. So it has been a mask-free zone since day one of COVID, and it works that well. It's been vetted out by the government, things like that. So that's an option. There's other things I would like to see the space. We can take that offline
Okay.
and take a look at the space and see what we can do.
Okay. All right.
Now, it's never one size fits all. So
Oh, no,
we want
I
to be
understand that.
cost effective, you know, and
Yeah,
that's the thing, is being cost effective for longevity.
Aside from the preschool, we don't, I mean, there's only about, we have one, our boiler operator maintenance guy, he's standing here listening, and Paul. And then our secretary admin person, then I'm here half a day because I'm a volunteer. So there aren't that many people in the building outside in the school area.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
But we still have a
Yeah,
lot of
so
square
we
feet to
take that
cover.
in, we take that into consideration based on, you know, the solution of how often the space is used. You know, in schools, we might do a ionized filtration system in the ductwork, in the filters.
Okay,
You know, in a K-12 or pre-K, we might put the Nexus machines in because they won't keep their masks on, and you know, so there's different solutions for every, and we got to talk that through. It's not one size fits all.
okay.
Mhm.
And are there any grants out there to help?
Yeah, we can talk to Connie about that, right, Connie?
I thought
We
you
have
might know
a
some, because
whole
if you want to
different
improve
lunch and
your, if you want to increase your business, some of your,
Yeah.
you know, if you had your directions, obviously you can't do it.
Yeah.
People have to fill it out, but that might be something to put in your bag of
Yeah.
tricks.
So
Okay,
we
thank you very
certainly,
much, Lynn.
one of the things I will quickly say, I don't want to take up all the space all the time, but we certainly, when we look at that type of thing in indoor air quality, we look at it holistically. So we look at changing, you know, just like Rob and Kim talked about, is there sustainability projects that can help pay for projects like that? So we'll look at water, we'll look at lighting, we'll look at building envelope, we'll look at building controls. So we holistically look at everything to see, you know, what are your needs and what are your, you know, what are your needs and wants sometimes. So.
Great.
Okay, I'll put my email address in
Yeah.
the chat.
Okay, great.
We'll get you guys connected.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, actually, I have a question. Yeah, I have a for the building. It's an HVAC question too. It was built in 1970, and the chiller has old Freon and doesn't work some of the times, and it leaks. And he has a boiler that the controls don't work anymore, so he goes in there and switches it on by himself. So he's looking at either upgrading the system or getting something new. Is there a fine line between that, and can any of this type of technical
No.
be added to the system that's old?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. We can take a look. So there's programs within Train and even with chillers and rooftop units that you know, depending on the age and the type of units, we can recommission basically. not just the controls, but the actual whole unit itself, depending on the age. I say that. Sometimes you can get an additional 7 years out of it, and we bring it back to brand new. And we can also warranty it. So we'll look at that first before we go, and try to come up with a capital plan. But yeah, no, absolutely. The indoor air quality, like I said, my team, what I do, I work for Train, and I'm, actually I'm vendor agnostic. So even though I like Train products, and that's what we prefer to use, because they are good products. If you have something else on site, we can also address that. So we would look at that holistically as well.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Great, thank you. Thanks for the questions. And anybody else? We are at the 1 o'clock hour on a beautiful Friday afternoon. Everyone's probably anxious to get back to work so they can go out and play when they're done. So thank you so much for joining us. We have emails, obviously, for all the 3 speakers, so you can reach out to them, and we will send you a link to this recording and the PowerPoints. So we will see you at our next speaker series in about a month.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a good
Thanks,
day.
everyone. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Yep.
Thank you. Bye now.
Sun is shining. Gonna go fly this afternoon.
Awesome.
Yeah.